Hey, it's Tuxedo Mark. It's 6:11 p.m. on Sunday, March 10th, 2024. And I'm going to give my review of Dune Part 2, which I just saw today, and eventually a list stuff like that. But first, before I do that, I want to address a few things. If you notice, the framing of the picture of the video is a bit different than normal. There's a reason for that. Um, I have an all-in-one uh, computer. It's like the computer and monitor are the same device. Okay, it's just a monitor on a stand. It's got the computer parts inside it, and the webcam is built into that. Hey, Donald, thanks for joining me. Now, I've got flash drives plugged into the back of my computer, and some kitties, actually, in particular, Miss Kitty over here and Coco, love to sleep on the desk. And sometimes they sleep behind my monitor. They just spread out like beneath behind the monitor, and they'll touch the flash drives and disconnect them. And it gets annoying. And when it gets reconnected, sometimes it reconnects automatically, sometimes it doesn't, then the drive, the window for the drive will pop up on the screen. And it's so annoying. So eventually I'm like, okay, you guys aren't going to go back there anymore. I pushed the monitor way back. So as far as I can tell, they won't be able to go back there. They might try, who knows? But so that's why it's a bit further back from me. The camera is a bit further back from me than usual. So there's that. Also, I'm using Wi-Fi right now instead of DSL because my DSL cable got disconnected from the back. It fell on the floor, and that's also where my modem is. My modem would usually be sitting right here. It's a modem/router. It would usually be sitting on the desk. Cat knocked it over, like off the edge of the desk, and it fell down on the floor. So that's where it's all sitting right now. But I think the Wi-Fi can handle this live stream. So that's that. My desk is subject to one catastrophe after another. I, yeah, Miss Kitty stretched out on my desk right now. And she's grabbed hold of my arm. Now she's pushing my arm away. Okay. Uh, so Dune Part 2. I recently watched Part 1 on Max because I hadn't seen it in the theater. And I had to read a synopsis of the movie on Wikipedia. And I also read a synopsis of the novel on Wikipedia as well as on Dune Wiki, because I'm aware that it's based on a novel from, I don't remember what year that came out, 70s? Somewhere in the 70s, maybe? I don't remember. But I've been aware of the novel and never read it. So while I was watching the movie, I was consulting like the synopses, trying to figure out like who's who and what's going on. And I read a timeline, like a Dune timeline from the past up until when the film and novel takes place. So I think I kind of know what's going on. But anyway, so I finished the first movie yesterday on Max, and I went to see the sequel today. It was good. The whole thing as a whole was good. I enjoyed the story. It's kind of difficult for me to understand everything that's going on. But I recommend seeing it. I did not see it in IMAX or anything like that. In fact, I want to talk about a little bit of a failure. This is a fail. a minor fail, but it's a fail nonetheless. When I watched the first movie on Max, okay, apparently on Max, it's in the standard theatrical aspect ratio. It's not opened up like an IMAX film. So apparently that footage is exclusive to IMAX theaters. And apparently, from what I read, it's not the whole film that's opened up in IMAX. It's like roughly an hour's worth of footage. And it's mainly the outdoor scenes. But still, okay, you know how they put text on the screen every so often to establish a location, like where something is taking place? The first time that they did that in the first movie, the text got cut off on the bottom of the screen because it had been framed for IMAX. And without the additional video from IMAX, the text was cut off. I mean, they didn't think to like raise it up slightly so you could read it. But anyway, none of the other text in either of the films had that problem. It's only the first time in the first film. But both films are roughly like 2.5 hours long or something like that. So yeah, and it spoilers if you care. The second one even kind of still ends on a cliffhanger of sorts. But as far as I know, the two films together adapt the first novel. Now, I know Frank Herbert wrote sequels. I think he wrote 5 sequels, in fact, or at least 5 other novels in the Dune series. So I'm guessing it's setting up a sequel, kind of, because not everything is resolved, really. I mean, anyway, I recommend seeing it. If you want to see it in the theater, go ahead. If not, you can wait for it to show up on Max, whatever. Anyway, so now stuff that I got. This I got a while ago, actually. It was at a Family Dollar. I found this. P.S. I Love You starring Hilary Swank and Lake House starring Sandra Bullock. A 2-in-1 DVD thing. Now it says $6. It has a reduced sticker for $2. And then when it actually rang up, it was $1. $1 for 2 movies. So yeah, I look forward to watching it. I want to see more of Hilary Swank's films because I like her from The Next Karate Kid, but looking into her filmography, apparently her characters die quite a bit in her films, and I don't want to watch films where her character dies. So, oh wow, P.S. I Love You has a bunch of people I know. Lisa Kudrow from Friends, Gina Gershon, I know her from the movie Bound and from the TV series Snoops. It was created by David E. Kelly, I think. It was like it took place in the same universe as The Practice. Kathy Bates, she was the villain in Misery, right? Jeffrey Dean Morgan, a comedian from Watchmen. Okay, so there's a bunch of people that I know in this. Okay, cool. And Sandra Bullock, I just like in general. She's paired with Keanu Reeves. Wow, that's a pairing. I know what that film's about. I read about The Lake House. But anyway, yeah, so just some fun movies to watch. And this I got today when I stopped off at a Walmart Supercenter. Universal Classic Monsters Complete 30 Film Collection. This was about $60. So it averages out to about $2 per movie. And a lot of these aren't streaming. So I would have to like pay a rental fee, probably on Amazon or whatever. And I'm guessing to watch all of those, it would cost more than the price of this set. Um, Now, I believe it doesn't say so on here. And the version I looked up on Amazon had different cover artwork, but it seemed to have list a lot of the same special features that are listed here. Um, and the one that on Amazon that it said it contained the Spanish Dracula because apparently the version that I saw on Amazon it had different cover artwork, but apparently it's a repackaging of the legacy collections for each of the classic monsters. They just put all those same discs in a box set. So, if that's the case here, that would mean a few films such as let's see. House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. There will probably be some duplicates of those in this set, maybe, assuming these are still just the same repackaging of the same discs from the legacy collections. I don't know if that's the case or not because I didn't see this particular set on Amazon. I saw a different 30 film collection. But anyway, so hours of bonus features. Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr., and Jack Pierce featurettes. Jack Pierce was the makeup artist. He designed the Frankenstein monster's look. 13 expert feature commentaries. Oh, that'll be interesting. Archival footage. I'm guessing stuff from that era, maybe advertising the films. I wonder if the film trailers are included. Did these films have trailers? I assume they did. Anyway, production photographs. Oh yeah, theatrical trailers. Cool. I don't know if it's every theatrical trailer, but whatever. I'll find out. And much more, whatever that means. All right, so I've seen a few of these. I'll go through each of these, and I've seen reviews also of most of these films, thanks to James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. But I'll go through each of these films. I'll tell you which ones I've seen and which ones that I've heard about. And just my thoughts, okay. So, Dracula, 1931. I saw it on VHS, probably back in like 2005 or 2006. I had rented it or borrowed it from the library or something. And then I saw it again thanks to a fan edit that someone made where they incorporated some extra footage from the Spanish version of Dracula. So I've seen the original Dracula twice. And it's not the greatest thing, but I enjoyed it, and I like the use of the Swan Lake music at the beginning. To me, that's the Dracula theme. Anyway, my favorite part of the film also is in Transylvania. Like before you even get to see Dracula, my favorite part of the film is when Renfield is in town and the townspeople are warning him not to go to meet up with Dracula. Because I just like that atmosphere that the townsfolk they kind of know what's going on and they're fearful and stuff. I like the mood of that thing, and yeah, I think there's a specific trope that I read on TV Tropes, and that apparently is considered cliche at this point, like the frightened townspeople warning the travelers not to go to the castle. But I like it, so I make no apologies. Frankenstein, 1931. I saw this year ago, like either last Halloween or the Halloween before, on streaming for the first time ever. It was good. Mummy, 1932, same deal. Uh, a Buffy reaction. That's something for me to watch. Anyway. The Invisible Man, 1933. This would be with Claude Rains. I've seen AVGN's. I'm not really AVGN, but James Welch's review of it. I haven't seen the movie, so I look forward to that. The Bride of Frankenstein, 1935. I believe I did see that also, in addition to the original. Werewolf of London, 1935. Apparently, this is considered the first werewolf film. Haven't seen it. It's a precursor to the Wolfman. So the Wolfman is the more famous one, but this is actually 6 years prior to that. So Dracula's Daughter, 1936. I have wanted to see this movie. I've seen James's review of it, but I want to see the movie. I heard it's pretty good. It's the only direct sequel to the original Dracula as well. And Bela Lugosi was going to appear in it, but then he didn't. But he gave permission for his likeness to be used, so they created like a wax figure of him to represent his corpse, I guess. So anyway, Son of Frankenstein. So this is the second Frankenstein sequel. I have not seen this one yet. The Invisible Man Returns. I have not seen that either. I don't know if it's still Claude Rains in the role or someone else. The Mummy's Hand. Okay. So The Mummy, 1932, never got an actual sequel. The Mummy's name in that film, I believe, was Karis, or was Karis the one in the sequels? I don't remember. But the original Mummy never got a sequel. So all of the rest of the films in a Mummy franchise follows a different Mummy. Now, yes, it is the same Mummy in all of the sequels. It's just not the same mummy as in the first film. So Mummy's Hand, 1940. And the same year as The Invisible Man Returns. Son of Frankenstein was 39. Okay, so after The Mummy's Hand, we have The Invisible Woman, 1940. Now, apparently this is a straight-up comedy, from what I've read. I've never seen it, but apparently it's not even a horror film. It's a comedy. I look forward to watching it. I don't care. So then, The Wolfman, 1941. Okay, haven't seen it. The Ghost of Frankenstein. This was the third Frankenstein sequel, 1942. Haven't seen it. Invisible Agent, 1942. So this is like the third, the fourth Invisible person film. Now, apparently, this is more like an espionage movie, like a spy film. I'll watch it. I don't care. The Mummy's Tomb, 1942. Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, 1943. Okay, here's where we get into the crossovers. So it's a sequel of both Frankenstein and the Wolfman. So yeah, and they meet up. Anyway, Phantom of the Opera, 1943. I believe this one stars Claude Rains, and it's a sequel. No, not a sequel. It's a remake of the 1920s, I think 25, silent film starring Lon Chaney Sr. So, yeah, this is a sound remake. Son of Dracula, 1943. I saw this on streaming. It stars Lon Chaney Jr. Didn't care for it, really. And it's It follows Count Alucard, supposedly the son of Dracula, but there's hints that it's just Dracula himself. And there's no telling how this fits in with the previous Dracula films. It's like it makes no attempt at any type of continuity or anything like that. I didn't really care for it. The only part I cared about was there was this one woman that was either she was being turned into a vampire or she already was a vampire. She has a bit of a like an existential crisis over it, I guess. That part was kind of interesting, but overall, I just didn't really care for the film. Then we have The Invisible Man's Revenge. Let's see, which one is this now? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the fifth Invisible film from 1944. Then we have The Mummy's Ghost, 1944. Then House of Frankenstein, 1944. And that's where we have the Frankenstein monster, the Wolfman, and Dracula. But it's not Bela Lugosi. It's John Carradine. I believe he was the author of David Carradine, who starred in Kung Fu, I think, and Kill Bill. So then The Mummy's Curse, 1944. Which mummy film is this already? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth mummy film, but the fourth one following this particular mummy. And House of Dracula, 1945. A sequel, House of Frankenstein, made just the next year. Apparently, they rushed it out. And they recycled the ending from House of Frankenstein. Like, they plainly just spliced the ending of that film into this one just to wrap it up. Yeah. So, again, like Frankenstein's monster, Wolfman, and Dracula. Okay. Then we have She-Wolf of London, 1946. Now, apparently, this isn't an actual horror film because there's no indication that the woman in question is, in fact, a werewolf. This is more like a thriller. Okay, so kind of misleading, but anyway. And then we get into the comedy films starring Abbott and Costello. So they decided, because the monsters were kind of considered a joke at this point, so Abbott and Costello made some comedy films to meet the monsters and have some fun with it, okay? So we got Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. They brought back, let's see, Bela Lugosi makes only his second appearance as Dracula. So they brought him back as Dracula. They brought back Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman. And Frankenstein's monster, I think by this point, was being played by Glenn Strange. A bunch of different people played Frankenstein's monster. Then, in 1951, Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man. Now, apparently, at the end of Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, there's a voice cameo from the Invisible Man, voiced by Vincent Price. But I don't think he plays the Invisible Man in Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man. So it's weird that they were kind of setting up this film. I don't know if they intentionally were setting up the film or not, but yeah, so anyway. Then Creature from the Black Lagoon in 1954. So this is going back to actual horror. But the Creature films were made so long after the previous monster films, like the actual series monster films. Like this is like just straight up 9 years after House of Dracula. So, but Universal considers it part of the Universal Monsters. So, okay. And then Revenge of the Creature, 1955. Mostly known for being like Clint Eastwood's first film role. He plays like a lab technician or something. I don't know. Uh, Marty pointed to the movie poster and the 1955 scenes at the beginning of Back to the Future Part 3. While he mentions Clint Eastwood, so that was kind of neat. Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, 1955. Okay. And then The Creature Walks Among Us. That's the final creature film from 1956. And that's the end of the movies on this set. Now, there was one more Abbott and Costello Meet a thing. There was Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know if that was made by Universal or not, but it's on the Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters DVD collection, which contains the 3 films that are on here plus that one. That one isn't on here. I don't know if Universal made that one or not. I'd have to look it up. Now, I was wondering about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, anyways, specifically the 1930s film starring Frederick March, because I remember James reviewed that. So I looked it up, and apparently that was Paramount, not Universal. So, yeah. Now, I looked up Universal Classic Monsters on Wikipedia, and apparently there are 10 other films that are considered Universal Monsters that are not on here. 2 of them, at least 2, were originally made and distributed by Paramount, but then Universal bought those films. So in like the 90s, when they first started like marketing Universal Monsters branding, those films were released as Universal Classic Monsters back in the 90s. But these 10 films have not been considered part of the Universal Monster franchise since then. They haven't been re-released in any kind of Universal Classic Monsters collection. I don't remember the names of all of them, but mostly they're films that I guess they're the 10 films that people don't care about. And I know that's unfair. I know that there are people that care about these films. I don't remember the names of all of them offhand. I think there was like Murders in the Rue Morgue. Trying to remember what else. I don't remember the names of the films, but I look forward to watching these anyway. And each of these films are not very long. They're like an hour and change, like an hour and a few minutes. So yeah, I've seen an Abbott and Costello film before. It was their version of Jack and the Beanstalk, which was pretty funny. But I haven't seen any of their other films, so I look forward to watching them. But in terms of like what counts as far as the monster mash, like the crossover stuff goes, it's basically just Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and the Wolfman. They don't cross over any of the other monsters. It would be awesome if they did, but you know. So yeah, that's about it. This set basically spans 25 years, 1931 and 1956. I could watch one film per day. I'd be done with this in a month. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to share that. Nothing else really is going on. So yeah, 6:41 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.